we'll see the same difference in aspect between the present and aorist infinitives. So remember the present infinitive active, paideoin, to be teaching. Here's the aorist infinitive active. Now remember, it doesn't have past time, so it doesn't have the past indicative augment. There's that stem from the third principal part, and this ending. Notice that paideosai, to teach, does not have recessive accent like you'd expect from most verb forms and from all the aorist verb forms we've seen so far. The aorist infinitive active is always accented over the penult. In the case of this verb, that penult is long, eu, it's a diphthong. And the final I here is, although it's a diphthong, short for purposes of accentuation. Okay, the I at the end of the aorist infinitive active, short for purposes of accentuation. So if this penult is long, it's going to be a circumflex because you've got the long accented penult and the short for purposes of accentuation ultima. So you can tell the aorist infinitive active from the second person singular aorist imperative middle, which does have recessive accent. Okay, paideosai versus paideusai. Now let's look at the present infinitive middle. Remember, the present infinitive middle passive, paideusai, to be teaching for one's own sake, or passive, to be being taught. The aorist infinitive middle only, not passive, is paideusasai, right? To teach for one's own sake. So again, to compare, paideoin, present infinitive active, has imperfective aspect, to be teaching. Paideusai, the aorist infinitive active, has aoristic aspect, to teach. Now, one more word about principal parts. Paideo is an easy one. Paideo, paideoso, epaideosa. If, however, the stem of a verb ends in a labial, when we add that S sound on in the aorist for the third principal part, we're going to end up with a psi. If it's a dental, the dental is going to disappear. We're going to end up with an S. If it's some sort of velar, then when we add the S sound, we're going to end up with a xi. So let's look at some examples from verbs we already know. Paideo, paideoso, epaideosa. Grapho, gropso, egropsa. Akuo, akusomai, akusa. Look, here the augment is a temporal augment, not a syllabic augment, right? We augment it by lengthening the alpha into an eta. Alato, alaxo, alaxa with a xi and also with this temporal rather than syllabic augment. Deloo, deloso, edelosa. Okay, notice that lengthened omicron, comes an omega there. Patho, peso, epesa, again a dental disappearing. And epiplato, epiplexo, eplexa. Notice if you have a compound that has this prefix here, the augment, the syllabic augment, or the lengthening are going to happen right there, okay? Before the stem of the verb, after the prefix, okay? So, eplexa, that's our augment right there. What if we wanted to make an infinitive or an imperative? What's our stem? We have to get the augment out of there. So the stem is actually epiplex. Okay, you have to take that augment out of there. So, for example, the aorist active infinitive would be epiplexi. Remember that infinitive has to be accented on its penult. So, and that 8 is long. This counts as short for purposes of accentuation. So it would be epiplexi. Okay, to rebuke. All right, that's it.